guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Liz and I'm going vegan while doing things a little extra each time. Today I thought we'd keep it a little simpler and kind of just a chill cook with me / recipe developing video. Kind of definitely playing off of Lauren Toyota's like recipe type of thing, except instead of just finding random things in my fridge, I do have a plan for this recipe, and that is vegan bolognese. And I've been meaning to make bolognese for the longest time, and I've just been like, I don't want to spend 2 hours waiting on a sauce, so I haven't done it. But we're gonna do it today, and I'm gonna try something a little different than the recipes I've seen out there. So yeah, I've got stuff going on the stove already, so let's pop on over to that. So this is what I've got started of our bolognese, and I'm kind of doing I don't know if you would call it like two-pronged approach to this. But so this is our like veggie mixture. And so what I did was I just got it started, and now it's like quite dry, which is perfect. That's how we wanted to cook out all the moisture. But so in here is just a mixture of 1 package of baby cremini / baby bella mushrooms that I blitzed up in my blender, and then also a mirepoix. So I did 2 babyish stalks of celery, a handful of baby carrots that I chopped up, and then half of a medium onion. And I blitzed that in the blender as well. And then I put the mirepoix in the pan first to cook out some of that moisture, and then I added the mushrooms, and it was quite soupy. You could probably tell from the edge of the pan that we had, like, it was up to here, and now it's significantly reduced. I've already gotten a head start on this and had this going on the stove for about 15-20 minutes at this point. So, and that's over low heat. Started at like medium and then went to medium low and then just low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this out of the pan now into a separate bowl, and then that's where we're going to take it a little extra. I'll show you that next. Okay, and so here is where our little something extra comes in. I'm going to keep this traditional in the sense that vegan bologneses typically just use mushrooms and then sometimes add walnuts for protein. I've even seen, I believe it is Lauren Toyota who uses zucchini. So what I wanted to do though, now that there's such great meat substitutes, is I wanted to add impossible meat. Yes, my friends, we're back on impossible meat. And so we just kind of want this to like really kind of crisp up. Not like to the full point of like completely being cooked, you know, cooked in the sense of faux meat cooking. But yeah, we don't want to like completely kill it, especially because that does tend to alter the texture of faux meat sometimes. But we just kind of want to get it partially cooked through. So I've had it, as you can see, like that part got kind of crispy. I had it sitting there for a few minutes in the pan, and now I'm just going to kind of give it all a stir, start getting some of that red to go away. It's okay if not all of it does, because it's all going to marry back together in the pan. But yeah, I thought this would be a fun addition instead of doing all mushrooms or part mushrooms and walnuts. Really didn't like the idea of eating crushed up nuts like as a sauce on my pasta. Maybe that's just me, and I just wanted to give this a go. So yeah, gonna put a little bit of salt and pepper on this as well. I also put some salt and pepper on our mushroom mixture, which, like I said, I just have sitting aside in a bowl. Doesn't look appetizing, but it's all, like I said, all going to be reincorporated. So yeah, just going to season and get this stirred and let this cook a little bit longer. It's only been about another minute or 2, but I turned off the heat. I'm going to stop it here. As you can see, some of it is a little brown, some of it is a little red, and that's fine. I don't want this to turn into cardboard, turn into a crisp. I want this to still finish cooking as we cook down the sauce. So I'm going to Leave this here, and then next steps, like I said, is getting everything back in the pan together and all situated. Back on low, and now that everything's in the pan, you can kind of further mince up the meat. We kind of kept it in those chunks just to start cooking it, but now since a bolognese is really just so velvety but chunky in like a good way, we're gonna just break this up even further, which might take some time, and that's okay. Don't rush it. You really don't want big chunks of anything. You don't want just a big chunk of meat. You don't want just a big chunk of like carrot or mushroom. So if you have any of those, be sure to pick those out. All right. Okay, now with our meat mixture meat and veggie mixture, sorry, on low heat, we can add our tomato products, like everything to just start making this saucy. Typically, you would use tomato paste. Again, as I've mentioned in another video, I'm not a big fan of tomato paste. I understand why it would make sense to use it in this recipe, but again, I'm just going to be using some tomato sauce. You're not adding a lot anyway. This isn't a bolognese recipe where I'm going to be adding a ton of crushed tomatoes and like turning it into a gravy, because to me that is not a bolognese. You want to taste it's a meat sauce. Like, this should be our sauce, not filled with tomatoes. It's like getting bad crab cakes, guys. You know, when it's just full of filler, we don't want that. This is going to be our star. So I'm going to put a little bit of tomato sauce. Not a ton. Kind of let like some of it just cook in the center here for a minute or so before incorporating it all throughout. Because we just want to kind of deepen that flavor. And again, tomato paste would obviously have a much richer, deeper flavor than this, but not really looking for that. So now we can just kind of incorporate it. If you find that anything is kind of sticking to the pan, that's okay, because we're essentially going to like deglaze it as it continues to cook into a sauce. I wish you guys could smell this right now. It smells so good. I'm even add a touch more for the amount of meat that we had. And because it's not as rich as tomato paste. And then in addition to that, I'm also going to add just a good little half a teaspoon here of bouillon paste. You could use chicken or beef for this to intensify the flavor. I'm sticking with more chicken because I've already got the mushrooms, I've already got the beef. I really don't want it to just be overwhelmingly heavy tasting, and the chicken will kind of keep it lighter. And so just get that incorporated. Yeah, and then things should be smelling real good. Once we have that, then we can add, as everything falls in my kitchen, we can add soy milk or any just kind of like a neutral milk, but that has more of a creamy consistency. So soy milk works really well from the recipes that I've seen online. I prefer oat milk though, so I'm going to add a bunch of oat milk. And if you wanted, you could, instead of just adding the stock paste or like a bouillon cube, you could dissolve it in water. You could add like just stock in addition to the milk, which I might end up adding some water if I feel like it kind of needs that. But I would really love to just cook it down into a sauce from the oat milk, if possible. And this will help you, as you can see now, you can scrape up all those bits from the bottom of the pan so that nothing is wasted. And yeah, you still want to leave this on low. You're not looking for anything to be this like crazy boil. It's got to take some time to just reduce and become super concentrated in flavor. So yeah, once it kind of looks like a sloppy Joe mixture, you're good to go. And so we just want to leave it. And as you can see, you'll see a few bubbles, but nothing crazy, and that's what you want. And so we're just going to leave this here. We'll stir it occasionally and check back. You could probably leave this for up to an hour. I don't know that I will. But when you think it's getting close to done, that's when you definitely want to start boiling your pasta so that you can just immediately transfer your pasta into this pan. So yeah, let's wait and get more excited. Okay, now with our sauce basically done, I have my pasta back here boiling, but it's just about finished. So what I'm gonna do is I want to take some of this pasta water and add it to our sauce to finish up our bolognese. I actually had mine off the heat for a few minutes just because I felt like, as you can see, it was getting a little too dry waiting for the pasta. This pasta ended up taking much longer to cook than anticipated. So yeah, so I'm just gonna add a couple ladlefuls of pasta water. Rather than thinning it out again with oat milk, to like the pasta water has the starch in it that will help it adhere to the noodles. And there we go. Now it's like back to sloppy Joe consistency just after those two ladlefuls. So, you know, just kind of eyeball it. Probably need at least a half a cup to a cup's worth by the end. But oh my God, is it so good. And then for pasta, what I ended up doing was using these huge bucatinis. They are in fact, I have this open. They are in fact vegan, but typically you wouldn't want bucatini for a bolognese. You would really want something that's like a heartier pasta that's going to really hold on to this hearty sauce. So something like a pappardelle, or even like if you could find like a really thick fettuccine, that would be good. But yeah, you really want like a big wide noodle for this. But I mean, just what is not to like? Hurry up, pasta. Our pasta is done, so I'm going to just immediately transfer it right into this pan. It's okay if some of that, or I could drop it. It's okay if some of that water comes with it. Actually, bring this kind of closer. You definitely want to use longer tongs than I have so that you don't burn yourself. Then we're just going to start getting this incorporated. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, it's my favorite part. It's time to taste test. Oh my goodness. I don't even care that this is a little bit cold after pausing to take a million pictures. Surprisingly, the bucatini did work out pretty okay. I think because they are tube shaped, they were able to, they still have like a lot of surface area and were able to hold on to the sauce. They're just a little difficult to manage eating, like so, but the sauce is awesome. I love the combination of the Beyond Meat with the mushroom base. It is just so hearty and such depth because it's not just one or the other. Even though we still cooked it for a long time, I really think it's the fact that we balanced it out with, you know, mushrooms, beef, and the chicken bouillon. It is just, it's so good. It's salty. Kind of in like an umami way because of the mushrooms. And the salt coming from a little bit from the pasta water, a little bit just from the bouillon itself, which is salty. And because we seasoned along the way. And the beef is giving it that nice feel, which is what I wanted, because I thought with the mushrooms, it might be able to replicate the taste, but would it really have that, like I was saying, velvety feel? It definitely does with the beef. Oh my goodness. Like, this sauce is, I mean, let me see if I can just get like some of the meat. I mean, come on now. Next time, I'm just going to make like a huge batch of that and store it in my fridge because it is delicious. It almost has like a, I want to say like a balsamic vibe to it. And again, I think that's from the mushrooms and the mirepoix mixture because we didn't add any balsamic. We didn't add any wine, which a lot of recipes add. So if you had wanted to add wine when we add the tomato paste / tomato sauce and chicken broth or just chicken bouillon, you can do so and then cook that out. And that's supposed to provide even greater depth. I don't have any wine on hand, but you can use white or red for that. I'm sorry, but this is like phenomenal. It's so good. I really wish a lot more vegan recipes out there would. Vegan bolognese recipes would show using Beyond or Impossible meat because this is fantastic and it's totally doable. I think definitely Impossible meat lends itself better to this than Beyond meat would. I've previously stewed down Beyond meat before and it works, but it definitely gets a different texture for sure. Impossible meat doesn't really mind being stewed down as much. I feel like Beyond meat, if you really push it, it can tend to get a little tough. It's not that it'll be inedible or that you won't want to eat it, but it will just have that borderline toughness to it as if it's being overcooked. Whereas Impossible meat, I mean, this had no problems. This is great. This is just great. So yeah, I hope you all like this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell next to it so you're notified when new videos go up. And I will see you all next time. Bye.